you may be sleeping on one of the best films of 2025. I'm talking about the new film Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. This is a film that follows a young Bruce Springsteen who is on the verge of superstardom, but is struggling to reconcile the pressures of success with the ghost of his past. To be frank, I was not even planning on going to see this movie, but I noticed it was playing in IMAX for a couple days, and I figured if I was going to watch it, which I probably was before awards season, might as well go ahead and check it out in the best format I could. Well, I ended up not only seeing it once, but twice in theaters. Now, on my first watch, I'll be honest, I really struggled with it. This is a movie that purposely closes the front door on Dewey Cox only to let him come in the back door.
Here I am sneaking behind you.
You can always come in my back door.
Here's what I mean. In structure, plot, and story, this film rejects the walk hard template and does something much more focused and more personal and more pointed. Yet somehow, even with the film shrunk down, it still falls prey to the tropes of a biopic. Dares to be different, only to crawl back to the familiar. But that is how I felt after my first watch. But here's where things get interesting. Between my first and my second watch, things began to click in my mind about what the film was actually doing. See, on my first watch, I missed it. I didn't hate it, but I was just very mixed on it. But with each passing day after I saw it in theaters, I just couldn't shake it. I kept thinking about moments in the films, and things just began to click for me. It got to the point where I had to go back and see it and find out whether I was crazy or not. And turns out, after going back again to see it in theaters, I was not crazy. You see, this is a very unexpected film. This isn't Elvis. This isn't Walk the Line. This isn't Bohemian Rhapsody. This isn't a total life recap, and it isn't a concert film either. The closest example would be to that of A Complete Unknown by James Mangold, but even there, the comparison does not come close enough because this is a very singular film and unlike any other musical biopic that I've seen. Now, it's also worth mentioning, and I probably should have said this at the top, I'm not a Springsteen fan. Wasn't before the film, not really one after. I still just kind of remain neutral on him and his music. And I think that may have contributed to my first watch feeling a little bit boring, a little bit aimless, a little bit long, because I wasn't really sure what I was watching or where it was going. But as I think back on the film, the point of the film really begins to emerge and really rise to the top and become clear, because as I sat with it, I realized this is not meant to be as flashy as Elvis. This is not meant to be a concert film like Bohemian Rhapsody. This is a portrait of a moment in time for a man battling ghosts that won't go away. It's slow because life is slow. It's aimless because life is aimless. You don't know where you're going until you get there. You don't know what's wrong with you until you break. The process of him making Nebraska is that very thing. Creating without having a clue as to what you're making. Like Jeremy Strong's character says at one point in the film, he's tapping into something deeper that he can't explain. He must make the album because it's his grief, pain, and depression manifesting, forcing their way out of him. And I can tell you firsthand by rewiring my mind and seeing this movie again as a film about depression rather than Springsteen himself, you will see the threads throughout the film and really understand each moment better. When it leans into what makes it singular, it soars. When it falls back on the tropes and cliches, it suffers. At least that's what I thought initially. But it might just be that the cliches are moments of normality that Bruce is trying to hold on to, but nothing fixes the pain that is internal. Love, music, friends, nothing is enough and no one can help him. The first half is the most trope heavy, which I think negatively affects the rest of the film on your first watch as you think you're just getting yet another walk hard. But on a second film, the threads and the cracks really become apparent all throughout the film. The structure of familiarity and cliche may just be intentional because when the tropes fully melt away, you can look back and discover that they were always just a cover for the broken person underneath. The tropes, in a strange way, almost serve as the starting point for what you think, only to destroy them by the end. Now, is this a perfect film? No, I don't think so, or at least I'm not comfortable to say that yet. But what I am certain of is this. Regardless of perfection, this film is really something special and very unexpected. I think the perfect movie exists within the final product that has been covered over by some cliches and just some rough edges that could have been buffed out. But even still, the light that shines through the cracks is enough to make it moving and incredibly powerful. The film is one big confrontation with his childhood and festering problems that he's bearing in himself. This is one of those films that I will likely rewatch many times over the years. I could easily see it growing on me more and more with each watch. But the final thing I want to leave you with is this really is not a Springsteen film. Not really. It's really much bigger and more universal than just him. Springsteen is merely the vehicle for a story of forgiveness, moving on, facing yourself, facing your past, and learning how to live. The lack of ego in this film is really astounding. Like I said, the film affected me deeply, but didn't really move the needle on my opinion of Bruce Springsteen's music, because it isn't about that. This isn't one big glaze fest positioning the artist as some brilliant savant or, some corporate attempt to revitalize an artist's catalog for a new generation. The film shows him before his fame as a human being and in his darkest place. And for that, I really applaud the filmmakers. And I want to encourage you to give this film a chance, regardless of your appreciation of his music or your opinion on the musical biopic genre as a whole, because there is really something here that is very special that is worth engaging with. It may click with you, it may not, but it's worth finding out. Now, I know this was not a comprehensive movie review, but I really just wanted to share my quick thoughts on a film that I did a total 180 on, more so as a plea for anyone who missed this film to re-examine and re-engage with a beautiful film that may be tragically misunderstood.